I would say the most important part of my life as a mom and as a farmer is stewardship.
My values as a mom and my values as a producer are the same.
Specifically, my daughter, same thing, a high quality end product. When she leaves this farm, I want her to be a positive contributor to society.
Have a sense of self-worth and pride and, all these things. And there's so many opportunities on the farm that we're able to really show them that.
As a mom and a farmer, the most important part of my job is making sure, number one, that my children understand what it takes to be a mom and a farmer.
I have a responsibility to steward the little lives that I've been able to bring into this world. I get to help steward the life of my husband, who's a farmer. And then we also have this amazing opportunity to steward the land, to help make sure that it's going to be sustainable for future generations. And we really take that of great importance.
Probably my most important job as a mom and a farmer is to instill those values in the next generation, whether that's our family or just even more broadly, just the next generation of agriculturalists and beef producers.
I want her to know that she can achieve anything if she works hard and basically just be a good human being. So if I succeed as a mom and a farmer, it will be producing high quality end products.
One day we were working calves, and my daughter, she was maybe 4 at the time, but she was working the slide gate. She thought that was really fun, and it was a really gentle group of cows, so it was no big deal, and it kept getting stuck. And I said, "Do you need help?" And she said, "No, Mom, I'm an Angus cattle kid, and Angus cattle kids do not give up." And I thought, they're able to see those lessons, and it's not something that we have to tell them. They see it, they learn it, and they're living it, and that's a really neat thing as a parent, to get to watch your kids kind of grow up in that way.
That's, I think, part of our job as farm moms, is to make sure we're bringing in that entire female audience and the moms of the world to understand what we do in a day, and that we're not out trying to harm their children when we put protein on their table.
I'm not sure that I actually chose this way of life as much as I was born into it. My parents were both heavily involved in agriculture growing up, so it just became a part of what I did.
I don't feel like I did choose this way of life. I feel like God knew my heart and prepared this place for me.
It was bred into me to raise my kids on a farm.
So I don't know if I chose this way of life as much as it chose me. Is there any other way?
I thought to myself, Lord, do not let me be like my father. Do not let me be this way, and I am not marrying a farmer.
I really genuinely love the hard work, the complexity, the animals, the crops, the sunshine.
And when I was able to see at a pretty young age, I think this next year will be my 30th year in the cattle business, and I'm 38 years old. So I made the choice pretty early on that this is what I wanted to do. And hopefully, if that's something that Ellie pursues, then great, but she's certainly going to be exposed to it at a young age.
It all comes back to the kids, to the children. I mean, I feel like I'm in such a unique position, growing up on a farm, going to the city, and coming back to the farm. Now, that's not a unique story. That's happened a lot of times. Garth Brooks has a song about it.
Now, when I grew up here, I have the best memories working on the farm alongside Dad and my brother, and I was bottle feeding calves at Axel's age. It is just a very special way of life. It taught me hard work ethic, an appreciation for the land, for the sacrifices my parents and grandparents and further back has made.
It's frustrating, it's beautiful, it's heartbreaking, it's joyful. When my children are eating out of the garden that they've grown in, it's rewarding.
I always say if the bathwater is dirty that night when we take a bath, it's been a good day. So just experiences in general, riding equipment, going to haul off grain with Papa, it just every day is something new.
And it's just really a beautiful way of life that really is as rewarding as it is challenging. And now that I'm here, I wouldn't change anything.
I think as an industry, we need to probably tell our story a little more about our operations, our background, where their products are coming from, whether it's their beef or their green beans on their table. How do we portray our picture instead of letting someone else paint it for us?
If I could tell the world one thing about the beef industry, it would be that grazing animals play an irreplaceable and invaluable role in helping us protect our planet.
Consumers, for the most part, are largely disconnected from production agriculture. And when I say that, I don't mean that they're just generations removed from the farm. They don't even know a farmer.
We care. The farmers care. It's how we raise our family. It's how we make our living.
I would tell them, we care so much. If you meet farmers, you are going to see men, women, families who are committed to sustaining the land.
Truly are trying to raise the best product we can. We spend hours looking over genetics catalogs. We spend hours talking to our feed consultant.
I would love to tell consumers that it's an honor and a privilege as a farmer to grow their food, to grow their clothing, and to help fuel not only just America, but the world.
We definitely care about the safety of our family and the consumer.
Sustainability is not something new. We've always been practicing it. If we had not practiced it in generations past, we would not be where we are today with our land.
You know, people talk about land being used improperly and all that. This is land that people are wanting to give to their children. They want to do what's best for the land. They want to do what's best for the cattle.
So they may, get information from a very unreliable news source or from social media, when in reality, the one thing that I wish consumers knew is to reach out to their state beef council or producer organizations or even their state Department of Agriculture.
Cattle oftentimes get the blame, and the truth is they're a huge part of the solution, and it all goes back to the pastures they graze.
I think what a blessing it is to be able to go to a grocery store where there's thousands of different products, all these options, and to have that so readily available. And that's because there's a farmer somewhere. 2% of the population are farmers that are raising that food, the fiber, the fuel to feed the world.
But know that we're not cutting corners and that we're not just trying to slap something in the shelves at grocery stores. And we are truly trying to make the best product we can.
They're committed to feeding the nation, and I really want people to know just how much we care.
Being a mom and a wife and a farmer and a helpmate and a cheerleader and encourager, whatever it is that I'm getting to do on the farm to be of help that day, is definitely the most important job I've ever had.
So I feel like with each child I've had, I've learned something a little bit different about feeding a family.
To other moms that may be concerned about feeding beef to their family, the one thing that I would say very clearly is to eat more beef.
I totally understand and appreciate the care that parents put into feeding their kids.
There are places for beef in a child's first food.
I'm sure other moms out there can appreciate this, that your kids do not eat the same, even though they are raised in the same house.
And I think it's very sad to think that some people think that beef is a negative food source, when in fact it's filled with protein and iron and vitamins. So I would really want to sit down with that mom and ask her, where are you getting your sources of information?
Things like nutritional density. I didn't think that would ever be a huge issue, but when you've got a kid that you might get 2 bites out of, you want those 2 bites to really count.
I was looking up the other day, I was having a conversation with our pediatrician, and they were requiring 13 grams of protein a day. And I was like, wow, how many kids aren't getting that protein?
Kids need protein. Kids need to be fed a well-balanced diet that includes meat for them to go to school and learn, for them to grow up and be healthy and strong.
Beef is so nutrient dense and such a great source of protein, zinc, iron, all things that are so important in a child's early years.
When I hear someone have concerns about feeding beef to their family, my first question to them is why. Do you care to tell me a little bit more about the reasoning maybe why you're not feeding beef to your family?
I would say that there are beef producers all over this nation that care deeply about raising healthy, happy animals that go on to produce healthy, nutritious beef.
Once I hear their reasoning why, most of the time it's very easy for me to come in and correct the myth that they may have heard.
We feed it to our family because we think that it is part of a healthy diet for them and things that they need to grow and to be nutritionally sound.
I know when I was pregnant with Axel, the one problem I didn't have was an iron deficiency because I ate so much beef and I like to cook it in a cast iron skillet. You know, my doctor even said that should be a selling. I'm gonna use that on all my patients now. You need to eat more beef, you know.
Let's look at your sources of information. Let's make sure that they are factual, they're fact-based, they're research-based, because if you look at most nutritionists and you look at most research, you're gonna find that beef's a part of a well-balanced diet that can fill us with wonderful nutrients.
So there are a lot of challenges and changes ahead for agriculture and the beef industry. And I think the biggest threat is probably just resistance to change.
So right now, I would say one of the biggest threats are just the cost of inputs. With fertilizer, fuel, all the cost raising labor, it's challenging.
But the thing that I see as the greatest threat to agriculture is just a lack of understanding.
Sadly to me, I think the biggest threat to agriculture is folks with opinions that are uneducated about agriculture.
Again, continuing rising inputs, continuing rising inflation, consumers not hearing the whole story and only getting one side of the story.
I think there's just a real lack of understanding as far as the importance and the value and the role that agriculture plays in our ecosystems, in our food systems, in our way of life.
Can sometimes lead to policies or changes even within government regulation that would hinder how we farm and how we're able to take care of this land and the animals.
As much as we want to honor the history and the traditions that we've had on our farms, I think it's important to see the changes and the challenges that are coming as opportunities to learn.
So you have to truly have a passion for what you do. You have to have a love of the land. You have to have a love of knowing that you are helping nourish the rest of the nation.
And just say people just don't understand. They just don't understand how important agriculture is, how important our food system is, how important food stability. We pay the least amount of money for our food in America than anybody else in the entire world.
Our fuel is 40% more expensive. Our feed is 40% more expensive. And so those are certainly current threats.
And so I think that one of the big challenges that a lot of farmers are facing right now are just the input costs and helping know that they're going to be able to navigate these next few years as we go through this.
There are significant challenges to this lovely lifestyle that we call farming.
There's not enough hours in the day.
I think the most challenging part is time.
We don't get to see our husbands as much as we would like.
So the most challenging part to me is going to be the time.
I'm sure all parents would say time.
If you're not used to being on a farm and you marry into it, is a struggle.
Having a baby and toddler and cows does not mesh well at all.
I have to make sure she's taken care of, then I can work. So I think that struggle, the life balance.
I've never had a more important job in my life as I do now as a mama.
It hit me hard when she come along because I was just used to dropping the hat and going and doing whatever I needed to.
You know, time is so finite and so limited.
You know, number one is, of course, laundry.
Farming is not a 9-to-5 job. It is 24/7.
And on a farm, it's increasingly more difficult. We're being pulled in so many directions.
4 kids, plus you have sports, you have school clothes, and then you have all of the farm clothes. So especially in the wintertime when there's so many.
I think to boil it down to the hardest part is just finding that balance.
That's a sacrifice that we are willing to make. But if you're not used to it,
it can be very challenging at times because, heifers have to be checked in the middle of the night during calving season.
Working hard and still letting your kids be kids.
And sometimes cow herd work or stuff that's going on runs into nap time.
And things that you have to do at the farm versus things that you have to do at home.
if you were raised on a farm and you married a farmer, like I was raised on a farm, so I knew what it was like getting up early and coming home late. I did with my dad.
We have to prioritize the things that are most important, and we lean on God and the village that He gave us for support, and then we just do our best every day, and we go to bed really, really tired.
We love raising our kids on the farm. It is just filled with wide open spaces and getting to be out in God's country.
Raising the family on the farm is rewarding in so many ways.
There's certainly nothing more rewarding than having your kid right next to you in your day-to-day life and teaching them how to grow things and respect the land, and certainly nothing more rewarding than that.
So far, the biggest challenge has been potty training because we are never in the house. We're on the go 24/7, and I think in order to really complete that and to get her pretty reliable with it, we're going to have to probably carry a potty chair in the truck.
So my daughter, Sophie, she's 9, and she takes a real interest in working cattle when my husband works cattle. And so the veterinarian comes, and our veterinarian's female, and she is very patient, and she takes time with Sophie to help her understand and learn the veterinarian side.
And you always have to carry a ton of snacks with you because you never know when supper is going to be late.
The fact that it takes twice as long to get your chores done because you want them to help, you want them to carry that 5-gallon bucket, you want them to be able to feed that cow or help pull a baby pig out, to give them those experiences.
So last night we were having dinner, we were eating on the porch, and we see a coyote enter where our cattle are in the pasture, and we just have to stop everything and go take care of our cattle.
There's not a lot of time to get away, even if it's to catch up with friends or take a short getaway or try to have some family time, going somewhere, experiencing different places. It's hard to get away. So definitely the most challenging thing is time.
I think on a farm we all have different roles, and each role is just as important as the next.
I like to devote part of my time to community projects, whether it's FFA or 4-H.
So I wrote a devotional book. It has 52 devotions. It's called The Growing Season, a year of Down on the Farm devotions, and it's really written for farm families.
Every mom out there has an opportunity to really impact the lives of their children.
That if people do have questions, if other moms out there have questions, please reach out to someone in your area.
Moms in general have a lot of questions about what they're feeding their children, and it's not out of their curiosity, it's more a concern about their children's health and their family's health.
So I would love to talk to anybody that has questions.
And I would just like to encourage other ladies that are out there that whatever it is that they're doing on the farm,
we genuinely care about how people think about their food and how people feel about their food.
whatever it is, just do it. Use your strengths. Continue to pursue those dreams on the farm, and don't give up.
I think that moms that care and dads that care, parents that are wanting to be involved with their kids, whether on the farm or not, that is the most important thing, no matter where you're raising your children.
So I'm a mom, and I'm also a wife to a husband who's a farmer. And one of my roles is being a writer and getting to share the lifestyle of farming with others.
And we really want to share our story and share what it's like on our side.
We have a story to tell. Who do you want to write it?
So it's really impactful to me that not only do we get to work with the land, we get to work with cattle, but we also get to use our other gifts to share farming.
But I think that every mom out there that is wanting to work hard and to learn more and to be more involved with their children and with their family and make that, and that's their priority, I think that we have such a bright future for the next generation.
Take that passion that you have and just keep pushing forward. Whatever it is, whatever your role in life is, use those God-given strengths to just keep pushing forward and be a light. Be a light.